I've had my nose done. I've had 2 hair transplants, like I said before. And I'm planning on doing muscle implants in my pecs and my arms. So that just remains to be seen, but because that's pretty...
Do you think you're a bit of an addict?
Yeah, my name's Luka and I'm a cosmetic surgery addict.
YouTube, what's going on? This is Glover. First name Glover, not last name. Don't get it twisted. And today, we're going to talk about Luka Magnotta. Now, Luka Magnotta is a very weird case. If you never heard of him, definitely look him up after this and watch the Netflix docu-series I'm going to talk about later on. But this cat was, and no pun intended when I say cat, but this cat was crazy, man. You know, he was a psychopath. And one thing about psychopath is, you know, they scary. You know, it could be a next door neighbor, a best friend you just don't know because they look normal, they behave fine and surprise. You know what I'm saying? You can never tell what could happen or when they will snap. You know, ever since Netflix has released a docu-series about Luka Magnotta and hunting him down called Don't Fuck With Cats, hunting that internet serial killer, people have been shocked at what else Luka Magnotta has been guilty of. In the docu-series, they have just uncovered the murder of 2 kittens. Yes, 2 kittens by suffocation. But he has done far more sinister stuff, almost unimaginable to the public. Let's take a look at the whole case that Luka Magnotta was involved in. And trigger alert, I have a lot of ghastly details ahead, so be prepared. And the little kids watching this, please go watch another SpongeBob or something. Go watch something else. This ain't for you. Shouldn't be watching this anyway. Where your parents at? So it all began in Montreal, Canada in the summer of 2012. Jun Lin was a university student from Wuhan, China. You know, where the C word pandemic started. Who was pursuing undergraduate studies in the computer and engineering fields at Concordia University in Quebec. Now, Jun Lin had been there for about a year. He had been a student of the Tayar College, and he had a part-time job in a convenience store. He stayed with a roommate and was a social guy with quite a few friends and led quite a normal life. He was reported to be initially quite excited about moving to Canada, but later felt lonely. He was gay and single, as his ex had just broken up with him because he was being pressured to talk to girls. But ultimately, they stayed in contact, good contact. In fact, before his death, Lin's last text was to him wishing a good morning. Now, Luka Magnotta, who was based in Ontario, was born Eric Clinton Kirk Newman and was the son of Anna and Donald Newman. Both his parents had some sort of mental disorder. Are you all surprised? Because I'm not. His mom was diagnosed with OCD and used to lock him up. I can tell. You know, matter of fact, she allegedly killed the pet rabbits in a house in the cold weather. His father was had schizophrenia. After this, his dad divorced his mother, and he actually ultimately ended up living with his grandmother. It was said that during these crucial years, he also did drugs, which messed up his head even further. He was into shooting gay pornographic videos and worked as a stripper and escort often. He was even a pinup model in Toronto's Fab magazine, and he had a stage named Jimmy. He had a lot of cosmetic surgeries done and didn't seem to mind going under the knife out.
What's up and hi to all my fans.
Luka had quite a history of indulging in illegal activities, including impersonation and fraud. Hell, he stole $10,000 and declared bankruptcy at a very young age. Can you believe that? He owed around $17,000 in debts, and somehow he embezzled everything, and he used various internet tactics to pay off the amount. Now, one thing about Luka Magnotta is that there were many rumors of his identity, with one saying that he had dated Carla Homolka, who was a high-profile murderer, although Magnotta always denied it, but I believe it was true. Magnotta had around 70 Facebook pages. Why you need all them damn Facebook pages, bro? Like, why you need 70 Facebook pages? Because you crazy as hell. and 20 websites under different names. And he was quite an active participant in discussion forums on online clubs. Now, before his encounter with Jun Lin, Luka Magnotta already had a few instances where he had shown his penchant for gore, you know. He made a brutal, quite graphic video of him killing different kittens. Yeah. It was uploaded on the internet and it went viral. So some of you all may remember that, but you know, I definitely remember it because it was all over the news and everything. He actually posted on YouTube in 2010 titled "One Boy, Two Kittens." In the video, he suffocated 2 kittens with a vacuum cleaner. And a private Facebook group reported this to an animal rights activist group who immediately took action by offering $5,000 to anyone who knew his identity. He had, or people labeled him as the vacuum kitten killer, and the Ontario Society for Preservation of Cruelty to Animals also complained to the police, and this spread across the Britain counterpart of the same organization, the FBI and the Montreal police, as this guy traveled a lot. His profile was investigated for a lot of other homicides, but there was really no evidence, and other people were caught. Hence, Jun Lin's murder was probably the only one he committed. How did the victim and perpetrator meet? Well, you might have guessed it. It wasn't fucking Facebook, it wasn't Instagram, it was Craigslist. Craigslist. It was a Craigslist ad that asked for a partner for bondage and gay and kinky sex, to which Lin responded. They were last seen in a building CCTV camera footage, which displayed the 2 normal men entering an apartment. Now, these 2 were highly unlikely to have met. Everyone wondered about how they managed to somehow run into each other. It was shocking, man. It was shocking, I bet it was. A Craigslist ad leading to this incident is nothing but bone chilling. So, he and Jun Lin went into a room, and what happened next was the worst thing you could even think of, man. So, I'm gonna let you all know once again, trigger alert. It's going to get pretty gory, so here's another trigger warning for you. In May 2012, a video was uploaded titled "One Lunatic, One Ice Pit" on the platform bestgore.com. You know, in that video, a naked male was getting stabbed with an ice pit repeatedly, and later a kitchen knife was also used. The male was then dismembered, his hands and feet were cut off, and while the body was still bleeding, the stabber indulged in necrophiliac acts.
You stupid.
I'm country, y'all, so don't mind me. The flesh of the naked man was then cut off with a fork and knife and eventually fed to a dog. An even more extensive version of the video, which was obtained later, even had a bit of cannibalism. This entire setup was filmed and had True Faith, the song by New Order, playing in the background. A video promotion gimmick was also released about 10 days before the actual video was uploaded, which means this was more likely planned. While this video was released on May 25th, Lin was last reported as being seen on the 24th of May, and his friends have even said they received a message from him at 9 p.m. His convenience store boss was a little alarmed when he didn't show up for work without informing them. So, you know, to everyone, this was not like Jun Lin. His friends was also alarmed as he was MIA and went to his apartment on May 27th, and they didn't find any sign of him. They then went to the police. By May 26th, the video had come quite the talk of the town, as you would imagine. And people felt what had transpired was no joke. It was real. And someone has possibly committed a ghastly fucking crime. A lawyer in Montana actually reported this video to the Toronto police, but they waved his concerns away as it seemed too unrealistic for such gore. Like, the lawyer then went to the FBI and local sheriff, and they both didn't take him seriously. A few viewers of Best Gore vehemently reported this video, and the police started digging in. Finally, they realized it was authentic, and a massive panic set in to identify the man and his location, spurring them into action. On May 29th, there were 2 packages delivered to 2 highly unlikely places. One was to the national headquarters of the Conservative Party of Canada in Ottawa, and another was addressed to the Liberal Party of Notice, but was intercepted in Canada post-processing facility. The package was blood-stained and contained a red heart, symbol as a mockery of being a token of love. At the same time, a janitor found a decomposing and rotting torso in a suitcase in the garbage pile that he cleaned on May 25th in a building located in the snowed area of Montreal. He reported it to the police, and they found more human remains, blood-stained clothes, a few identity papers, and sharp objects. They ran a quick CCTV scan and saw the person. He was also the same person who dropped the packages at the post office. On May 30th, the victim was identified as Jun Lin, and the body parts in the post office were also traced to him. So the police immediately knew Magnotta did it, and they started an investigation. Magnotta had been quite elaborate with his plans, however. The apartment on DeCarey Boulevard had been occupied for 4 months, and he had paid his rent until June. It was empty as though he was preparing to flee immediately, and there was blood everywhere on the mattresses, fridge table, and even the bathtub. It was even written in blood on the inside of his closet to not look into a mirror at the reflection if you don't like the reflection. He also wrote that he didn't care. Now, do you think everything was over? Let me know in the comments below what you think happened next. So, remember the note that came with the package that was sent to the Conservative Party? It was said that he shared 6 body parts to various locations, and they can expect a repetition of the same type of murder. The other 3 packages was found with notes, but this wasn't released to the public, as psychopaths might occupy this sort of MO, and I don't blame them on that. On June 5th, the right foot was sent to St. George School, and one more to False Creek Elementary School in Vancouver. Both were sent from Montreal, and no one knows why he chose that particular location to date. On June 13th, all those parts was identified to be Lin's using DNA samples, and on July 1st, Lin's head was found near a lake in Agrigon Park in Montreal when someone called in anonymously and informed the police about it. The manhunt for Magnotta started, and there was a Canada-wide warrant for him by the police. He was charged with first-degree murder, necrophilia, publishing illegal and obscene content, mailing inappropriate material, and harassing politicians and the Canadian Prime Minister. On May 31st, in 2012, Interpol also issued a red notice for Luka, and his name and photo were displayed everywhere. Magnotta was caught when he booked a flight to Paris using his own damn name.
You're so dumb.
His cell phone was traced to a hotel, and by the time the police arrived, he had left. Of course, they found porn magazines and an air sickness bag in his hotel room. The ID he gave to the hotel was a fake one with the name Kirk Trammell. His contacts in Paris, which he made back in 2010, were traced. A man had actually stayed with Magnotta, not knowing who he was. Magnotta was heading towards Berlin, and the police were trailing him. He was arrested in Berlin by the police when he was caught reading all the news about himself. He denied who he was and he gave a lot of fake IDs, but his fingerprint matched. He did not rebel afterward and he was kept in the custody. In June 18, 2012, he was sent to Canada in a military transport vehicle, which was important as they didn't want any unwarranted legal issues. He was then confined to Solidarity in a high security detention. Now, the news of the gruesome murder spread to China, and everyone there believed that the murder was for racial reasons. There was outrage by the Chinese media and government questioning the safety of their people in Canada, as there was one more high-profile murder of a Chinese citizen earlier that year. The Minister of Foreign Affairs issued a formal apology and condolences to the Chinese ambassador of China. The Prime Minister of China, Stephen Harper, gave an official statement congratulating the police and commended them for their timely arrest of the perpetrator. Lin's family arrived in Montreal to oversee the legal trial and to ensure justice for their son. There was a fund established to support their stay in Canada, and an award in his name at his university was named in his honor. There were candlelight vigils held for his mourning, and Lin was given a cremation. His ashes were buried in a cemetery in Montreal. The owner of bestgore.com was arrested also for hosting the video without any guidelines, and he pleaded guilty and got a 6-month sentence and a subsequent house arrest for 6 months. Many people were alert in the neighborhood, and everyone awaited the trial and wished for justice for Lin. In the preliminary hearing, Magnotta initially pleaded not guilty to all the charges and later requested a trial by a jury, like he was gonna win. The evidence presented in court wasn't disclosed to the public as it was banned due to atrocity. Magnotta's defense team demanded that the media shouldn't be allowed, but this was overruled and the trial proceedings were made public. Lin's father attended all the sessions and everyone involved testified. There was video evidence presented and the forensic teams and analysis all gave their expert statements. On April 12th, Magnotta was indicted for all the crimes he was charged with. His lawyers tried reducing the severity of his sentence by attributing it to mental disorders. He was said to be in a psychotic state, but the prosecutor said the murder was so pre-planned and highly organized that he needed to be held accountable for his crimes, and I definitely agree with it. He was then subjected to a life sentence and will only be eligible for parole after 25 years. He has an added 19 years for the other charges.
It's been nearly a week since a jury found Luka Magnotta guilty of first-degree murder in the death of student Jun Lin. Well, today, for the first time, Jun's father, Jun Lin, spoke in public about his son's death. And among the hardest things for Lin is returning home to China knowing there is no remorse from his son's killer. Here's CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief, Jean-Pierre Beauchemin.
Jun Lin shared his story. It is the heartbreaking tale of a father still haunted by a question for his son's murderer.
他是个畜生，没想到说的，你的禽兽不如。我是想问他为什么这样做。
Why? Why Luka Magnotta so brutally killed his personable, smiling son, tearing apart his family and their future, and posting it all online for the world to see.
Now get this, man. His mental disorders listed were paranoid schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder. So bro was fucked up in the head. So I want to ask you all, do you believe the trial was fair? I do. Where do you think he is now? Is he dead or alive? Tell me in the comments below what you would expect has happened to him. Well, I'm pretty sure you all Googled the answer, or probably, I already knew the answer, but, as you all probably know, Luka is still alive and he's still in prison as of 2014. No media has been allowed to talk to him. However, they was able to get a hold of photos of him and letters. He was seen to have changed completely, and in 2015, he even registered on an inmate dating website called Canadian Inmates Connect. In fact, he has already met an inmate called Anthony Jolin, and they were all set to marry in 2017. And I found that shocking as hell. What about y'all? They actually did marry on June 26th with Luka's mom as a witness, but the pair isn't allowed to live together in jail, and Luka was not allowed any visits by family. He is said to keep up with the happenings in the outside world. He attends a painting class in prison, and he exercises a lot. catch this, Luka's mother also co-wrote a book about her son with Brian Whitney, who is a counselor and a prison advocate. When Brian corresponded with Luka, you know, he didn't have any interest about talking about the case. So that's all about Luka Magnotta. You know, the guy committed a lot of heinous crimes, from dismemberment to necrophilia, cannibalism, and various other different crimes. Right now, you know, he's in prison, living good, alive, good facilities, and, you know, he has gotten married. But unfortunately for his victims and, you know, the animals, you know, they're not alive to lavish in life. You know, he took that away from them. So that's very unfortunate. So I believe this sure begs the question of ethics and, you know, morality. What do you all think? Are you all satisfied with the sentence he has been given? You know, do you find it okay that he's been given another chance to redeem himself? Let me know in the comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You know, I'm a new channel, small channel. You know, so I put in a lot of effort in these videos, and I never knew it would take this long to do this much research and, you know, have to edit. So I definitely appreciate the likes. Any comments, you know, I definitely appreciate. I will definitely comment back to everyone that subscribed. Again, this your boy Glover, first name Glover, not last name. Don't get it twisted. And I'm out. See you next video.